Good morning, Bonneville County. You have just joined breakfast with Idaho State Senator Cook, Kevin Cook. I am also running for another second term for the Idaho State Senate in District 32. We used to be District 30, and now we're District 32. So if you're not sure what district you're in, District 32 is kind of the donut. Okay, you got the whole, which I believe is 33, which encompasses mainly all of Idaho Falls, the city of Idaho Falls. But outside of Idaho Falls, including Ammon and the rest of Bonneville County, is pretty much District 32. And that's where I'm represented, is District 32. I do this every Saturday morning, especially during the campaign season, but I try to do it during the session as well, because I need your input. I want to hear what your issues and what you think of the laws that are being placed before the Senate and the House of Representatives vote on. I need your input. And so that's why I do it during this session. When we're out of session and we're out of campaign season, I try to do it once a month because even though we're not in session, I am still doing a lot of work, researching, trying to figure out what's going on, taxes, property tax, Medicaid, some things like that, and school, education. Those things I am busy looking at and studying and trying to figure out a good path forward. And so I try to get you involved and to tell you what's going on. And so you'll continue to hear from me throughout the year, especially if I get voted in. Okay, so we'll see what happens on the 17th. Anyway, I serve on the Joint Finance Appropriations Committee, which is known as JFAC. That's the one that sets all the budgets for the state of Idaho. It's a huge committee. It's the only committee that meets 5 days a week, and we're there for several hours. And then outside of the committee, I probably spend 6 to 7 hours working on budgets. And so there's a lot of work in that one. I also serve on the Senate Education Committee, and I really like that one. I'm passionate about education. That's another big one, really busy. I serve in the State Group Insurance Advisory Committee, the Idaho Technology Authority Committee, and I really like that, being a computer geek, software engineer as a profession. I enjoy that committee. I also serve on the Western Interstate Commission for Higher Education Committee, and that looks at the colleges and universities, mainly here in Idaho, but we meet with other legislators and university presidents involved with education. And so we meet with them and kind of compare notes and see what each state's doing and how we can improve our education. So those are the committees I've been serving on, and find them very exciting, very busy, but truly enjoy it. Anyway, this morning, as we talk, if you have questions, concerns, thoughts, feel free to post them live, or if you want to text me, email me, call me, whatever you'd like to do, you are welcome. And I will try to get back with you as soon as I can. Sometimes it takes a while, but I try to get back with you, especially if you give me a way to get back to you. I do that. Let's see, so voting. The big thing that's going on is, you're probably like me, I'm tired of seeing campaign signs all over the city, including my own. I'm tired of it. I'm kind of sick of seeing all those. And so a few more days, we got 3 more days, and those signs should be gone. I know that I'm going to take a half a day off if I can, Wednesday, and pick up all those signs and put them away and get them out of your sight. I appreciate your patience, though, with letting us put signs on your yards, those who have let me do it. And if you haven't got a sign on your yard yet and you'd like one, you're in luck. I still have some. And so if you will let me know, I will run a sign over to your yard. I appreciate that. Anyway, there are only 3 days left to vote. Okay, so let's talk about some dates. So pre-registration vote was April 22nd. That's the day you had to pre-register to be a Republican or Democrat or wherever you're going to be. Okay, last day to request a mail-in absentee ballot. That's passed. Too late. Can't do that. Last day for early voting was the 13th, which was yesterday or Friday, and so you're too late on that. So the only way you can vote in primaries now is this Tuesday, May 17th. That's the primary. So you need to find out where your polling station is. And the easiest way to do that, if you want, you can go to www.bonnevillecounty.idaho.gov. If you go on there and do a search, or easier, you can go to my website. You can go to my website, which is www.kevincookforidaho.com. If you go there, you'll be able to find a place where you can put in your address and find out your polling station, where to vote at. And if all that fails, okay, you can run into the county elections office. It's at 825 Shoup Avenue. It's located across from the DMV, the Driver's License Annex. Or you can call them, 208-529-1363. And so that's the Bonneville County Elections Office. You can give them a call as well. All right. I wanted to talk about, a lot of people say, well, who are you voting for? What do you think of this person? What do you think of that? And so I'm going to give you my personal opinion. You might not like it. You might disagree with it, and that is fine. That is great. Except I would like you to agree with voting for me. Okay? Anyway, so let me go through my thoughts on this. And again, you know, that's what the Great War was fought for, is for so that we could disagree and still get along, which isn't happening right now. But I hope that we can get back to that, where we can have different views and still be friends, still be neighbors, still talk, and not have to crucify each other's character. So, U.S. Representative, we have Mike Simpson and Brian Smith running in that one. Okay, Mike Smith, a lot of people Mike Simpson. Mike Simpson. A lot of people have a problem with breaching the dams, which is what he was going for. I have a problem with that too. I do not want our dams breached. I think that is a huge mistake. Even though I love salmon and I love fishing for salmon. Personally, I don't think he has enough votes to breach the dams. I don't think that will happen. He's got to get a whole bunch of people to vote for that, and I just don't believe he has it. Brian Smith. Brian Smith, on the other hand, is a far right, and if you're far right, then this is your man. He is a far right radical person, and so I would. One person could make one vote and kill a whole bunch of good bills, and so I'm not voting for Brian Smith. I'm going to vote for Mike Simpson. That's where I'm at. Again, I don't like the breach dams as well. I'm not for that. U.S. Senator Mike Crapo. I like Mike Crapo. I'm not 100% with Mike Crapo with some of the things he does, but I don't know if anybody is 100% with individual. But anyway, I'll vote for Mike Crapo. He's got some opponents, but I haven't heard much about him. Don't know much about him. Governor, we got Brad Little, Janice McGeehan, Ed Humphreys. Janice McGeehan is here from Idaho Falls. That's where she lives at. So it's kind of cool if we had a governor from Idaho Falls. But I am not for Janice McGeehan. Again, she's too far to the right, too radical. She just seems to react, knee-jerk reaction. Something happens and boom, we react instead of thinking it through. And instead of thinking it through and wondering, okay, how is this going to affect the great state of Idaho? And so I'm not planning on voting for Janice McGeehan. Ed Humphreys, I like what he says, but he has no experience. Has no experience at all. If he had some experience somewhere in the government that we could say, oh yeah, then I would probably be all over Ed Humphreys, but has no experience, and so I just not. So I'm back to Brad Little. And it's easy to sit back in the, what is it they call it, the armchair quarterback or the couch potato quarterback that says, oh, he did it wrong. It's easy to look backwards and say, Governor Little really screwed up. I, for one, there's some things I wish he would have done different. I wish he would have called some legislators back to session to work together, all hands on deck to work together how to use that money. And instead, he did a lot of that on his own. And I think that was wrong. However, I do believe he's the best man for the job. And so I'm planning on voting for Brad Little and support him. Lieutenant Governor, Scott Bedke is the Speaker of the House right now. And he's swapping over to run for Lieutenant Governor. And then you've got Priscilla Giddings running for lieutenant governor. I have sat by Priscilla Gillings for 2 years in the JFAC committee, Joint Finance Appropriations Committee. I know a little bit about Priscilla. I saw what happened on the Ethics Committee. And I personally believe she's got some integrity issues. And so I would never, ever vote for Priscilla Gillings. Scott Bedke, you might not like everything about Scott Bedke. The one thing I really like about Scott Bedke is I've watched some of the sessions that go on in the House, and it's like sometimes herding 70 cats. And Scott, just because there's some really far right and some far left that really make it difficult, okay? The biggest percentage of House representatives are awesome. I love working with them. They are good people. But you got some far on both sides that make it really difficult. And the Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, I think does an awesome job of corralling them around and say, hey, let's get the job done. Let's get back to work. And so, you might not like everything about Scott Bedke, but I'm voting for Scott Bedke. I think he will do a great job. Secretary of State. Let's see, you've got Dorothy Moon, Mary Sousa, and Phil McGrain. So Dorothy Moon, she supported, so again, this goes back to the Ethics Committee, about we had a House representative member that raped a page, an intern. And Dorothy Moon supported the rapist and belittled and made fun of the rape victim, a young woman. And so I can't vote for Dorothy Moon. Again, if they're doing that to individuals, I just don't see that. Mary Sousa, she is a senator, currently serving as a senator. She is wonderful. I've loved working with her. I think the world of her. And then there's Phil McGrain. I didn't know much about him, but I've got to know him a lot through the campaign season. And I've also talked to county clerks throughout the state. And the county clerks are the ones that really, really work with Phil as the Secretary of State. And so you've got Mary Sousa, who I really like because I've shared with her the senator, and you got Phil McGrain that seems to have the knowledge and the support of a bunch of our constituents. So on that one, I'm leaning towards Phil McGrain, but we'll see what happens when I actually vote. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Let's see, Attorney General. Attorney General, you've got Lawrence Wasden and Raul Labrador. So on that one, you listen to Raul Labrador and you think, holy cow, Lawrence Wasden didn't do a darn thing. He was lost. He was out in left field. He didn't do his stuff. I had 2 or 3 different occasions where I sat down with Lawrence Wasden and asked him the questions about, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you represent Idaho? Why didn't you enter the lawsuit? And it always went back to, well, let's look at the Constitution. Or what was the lawsuit about? So as he described to me, the lawsuit, what we were trying to do is other states were joining a lawsuit to say what another state had to do. So in other words, Idaho would join a lawsuit that would say, oh, you know what, Pennsylvania or New York, you have to do this because we say so and we're going to sue you. Well, that's not right. Another state should not be telling another state what to do. And so I like Lawrence Wasden. I will vote for Lawrence Wasden and Raul Labrador. He's on the far right. So if you're a far right person, then he's probably your man. But I think Lawrence Wasden is good. Superintendent of Public Education, we got Sherry Ybarra, who is the incumbent, Debbie Critchfield, and Brandon Durst. So Brandon Durst, I have a real problem with Brandon. He has got some anger management problems that he needs to get under control first. And if you're serving in a public office and got some anger management problems, you got some serious problems because you're always going to have people that hate your guts, that want to argue with you and tell you you're wrong, and you've got to be able to control it, and he couldn't do that. I saw him react in after one of our Senate education meetings where one of his bills got shot down. Sherry Ybarra, I just think she's disconnected. I really do. And so Debbie Critchfield, I really like her. I think she's open, she's caring, she's served in the state school board. She's got a new vision and she's open to new ideas. We have been doing education the same way since the 1800s, and then she's looking like, well, okay, maybe we need to change some things. And so I do like what Debbie Critchfield brings to the table. Our Bonneville County prosecuting attorney, Elaine Bean. She's it. I like her. I think she will be wonderful. She is very knowledgeable, a very hard worker. I really like Elaine Bean. She'll do a great job. Okay, we're into the districts now. So District 32, that's my district. Kevin Cook for Senator. Hope you'll vote for me. If you have questions again, let me know. We're going to be out on the corner of Hitt and Sunnyside today at noon, unless the wind blows us off the street. We'll be out there waving signs, campaign signs. Come by, pick up a sign and wave with us, or come by and just honk. Come by and honk and take some pictures of us out there waving signs and put it on your Facebook or your Instagram or wherever else you'd like to do, but put some pictures up there. I'd appreciate it. Okay, so District 32, we have representatives. We've got Stephanie Mickelson, Mickelson Farms, big potato farm. In fact, I believe they have the biggest farm in the state of Idaho, what I've heard. Then you got Nicholas Christensen. Out of those, I'm voting for Stephanie Mickelson. She is a fighter. If she wants something, she'll get it because she will die trying to. She is a fighter, and I think she's will do a great job. And she talks. She lets you know where she stands, and I believe that she's open to listen to other people too. So I would vote for her. And then our last representative in District 32 is Wendy Horman. She has no opponent. That's because she's so awesome. She does a great job, and I think everybody is completely happy with her, what she does. She is a great representative. District 33, we have Senator Dave Lent. He's got an opponent, and on that one, just to me, there's no question. Dave Lent is the man. Incredible, very articulate, knows what's going on, and spends a lot of time studying and the matters, the issues, and does a great job. You got Representative Barb Ebhart and Jeff Thompson. Now that's a hard one, but I'll tell you where I'm at with that one. Jeff Thompson just seems to be a little bit wiggly. Whoever's the last one that takes him out to lunch seems to be the one where he votes at. Barb Ebhart, you might not agree with everything that she does, but you know exactly where she stands. She is a woman of integrity. I don't believe that she'll go back on her word, but that's kind of where I'm at. Those two are some hard ones there. District 35. So this one is the huge district. This goes from Teetonia all the way down to Bear Lake. It's huge. So your senators there are Mark Harris and Doug Toomer. Mark Harris is the incumbent, and he is awesome. Very humble man. He's a big old farmer out in Soda Springs. Does a great job. Anyway, he's got my vote. No questions asked. Does a great job. Representatives, you got Chad Christensen and Josh Wheeler. Again, this is District 35. So in Bonneville County, that would be, what's the name of that mountain? Taylor Mountainside out there, Kalamora, something like, I'm pronouncing that wrong, but that's the people there. So representative, you got Chad Christensen and Josh Wheeler. Chad Christensen is a far right person. And if you're far right, then that's who you'd want to vote for. If you're not, I would definitely go with Josh Wheeler. He's more middle of the road. He is a native of Idaho Falls, him and his wife. His wife is a pediatrician, I believe. I think. Anyway, she is a doctor. I know that. I'm not sure what she does. But I would vote for Josh Wheeler there. Then you got Kevin Andrus and John Goody. Kevin Andrus, I like the man. I've worked with him a little bit. John Goody, I've just started getting to know him through the campaign season. On that one, you're on your own there. I don't know. I like them both. I think they're both incredible and bring a lot to the table. Okay, so that's where I'm at. There is one other thing, though. If you're in District 32, or I'm sorry, precinct. If you're in my precinct, I'm also running for precinct officer, and I would appreciate your vote. Now, on the ballot, it's going to say Kevin J. Cook. Don't ask me why I filled it out different, but that's the way it shows. So as a senator, it shows up Kevin Cook, but as a precinct officer, it shows up Kevin J. Cook. I'm the same person, and I would ask for your vote for both of those, if you would. All right, so here's the big news. Got a few more minutes. We're going to do this really quick. And I don't want to go negative. I have tried 2 years ago and this year to keep my campaign positive. I want to live or die at the polling station at least I can say I was positive, and I didn't go negative on anybody or try to destroy anybody. And so I really try to do that. And you might disagree that I haven't done that. So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm certainly human. So the lawsuit that went on. If you haven't heard about that, you had the state Republican Party, the state Central Republican Party, sue the Bonneville County Republican Central Committee. So you've got the overall huge state committee, and then you got some of these county committees, and then you got regional committees. Well, they all kind of answer back to the state committee. And so what Bonneville County did is they went out with a card that said the official Republican Party announcement, or I don't know. Anyway, and then they went through and they says, here's the ones you should vote for. Well, that's not what they're supposed to do. If you read their bylaws, and I read them 2 years ago because I was really upset with them because they took my money. I went to Lincoln Days, bought a table, donated to the Republican Party, the Bonneville Republican Party, and what did they do with my money? They gave it to my opponent. Okay? We're both Republicans. Okay? So the Bonneville County Republican Party, their idea is to say, here's all of our candidates. You judge. We're going to give you as much information as we can about these people, but we will not pick. I believe there was a great war fought several years ago that gives me and you the right to make our own decision, to gather the information and the facts, go to the polls and vote. And the Bonneville Central Committee tried to take that away. They said, you're not smart enough. So we're going to tell you who to vote. Here's your card. Take it with you to the polling station and vote exactly how we said. And so they had already picked who that they wanted for each position, which was wrong. They donated to people. Again, I've donated to this party. They take my money and then they give it to my opponent, or they give it to whoever they want. Now, to my knowledge, they did not do that this year. Okay, not to my opponent. They did it to other opponents this year, but they didn't do it to mine. So I don't want to mislead you there. But anyway, the idea is in the bylaws of the rules for these central committees is they're there to say, here's our product. Here is the Republican product. Here's our Republican candidates. Here is what we have to offer. And we will help you understand about all of these candidates and then let you make the decision. But instead they came out and tried to say, we are the official Republican Party. Basically saying, it made you believe that it came from the state, and it didn't. It was just the Bonneville Central Committee, which is a very, very far right committee. So anyway, that's where we're at. If you want to read more about it, go to the Eastern Idaho News. It's got some articles on there. Vandersloot, Mel Luca, the president, CEO of Mel Luca, came out with a statement as well. Anyway, I hope you have a great Saturday. We are waving campaign signs again noon at the corner of Hitt and Sunnyside. And if you'd like to come in and join us, do. We've got some extra signs. You can get some signs and stand in the corner and wave with us. If you've always wanted to do that, we'd love to have you. And afterwards, we'll take you to lunch. Or if you don't want to do it, come by and at least honk. Honk, take some pictures, go post the pictures on Facebook. But we're going to have a great time at noon just for an hour promoting Vote for Cook. Okay, so I'm asking for your vote May 17th at the polls for Idaho State Senator. And if you would, talk to your neighbors, talk to your family members, and see if you can get some more votes for me. I'd really appreciate it. If nothing else, at least vote. We need to vote. May 17th, so it's this Tuesday. Find your polling station. Don't wait. Find your polling station and make a time that you can go and vote. Okay? Thank you. Have a great weekend, and hope to see you sometime. Talk to you later.